This is Infernal Shard 1 for the win. So, I hope you guys enjoy this video that I got for you today. Hit a like if you enjoy this content, and subscribe for those of you that are new to the channel. And also, comment down below at the end of the video of your guys' thoughts at the end. But within further we go, let's get this video started and out of the way.
Catch 'em all.
Alright, so I am probably going to get a lot of hate and a lot more dislikes on this video than I am going to with likes and whatnot. But apparently, it seems like what's going through a lot of gamers' minds nowadays is the only thing that they truthfully care about is the graphics, and they do not care about other of the consumers out there. And honestly, it's the most disgusting thing. Now, I know I've talked about this on a couple of recent videos and whatnot, but this trend just keeps on going and going and going, and just people just are just so freaking irritating, and it just keeps on going. But the reason why that it seems like that a lot of these gamers only care about the graphics more is because of the fact that, well, let's say if you're playing an older system, either if it's still the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, or even older than that, they basically think that you are technically a ignorant fool because you're playing an older console, especially with games that possibly are not on the platform that they play on, whether if it's the newest platform on the market. And they basically think that, like I said, they think that you're stupid and this and that, all just because you play older consoles and you haven't got a new console, or you're somebody like me that does get the new consoles but still plays on the older ones, at least right now or every once in a while. They think that they just think that you're stupid because that's what you do. And honestly, I personally, with me, I have gotten a lot of people that said that about me, especially because when I first got an Xbox One, right, back in 2015, when the PS4 and Xbox One were the new consoles on the market and whatnot, way before even the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro were even announced. And I still basically played my Xbox 360 most of the time, at least within that first year after I got the Xbox One. You honestly want to know why I did? It was because there was basically not that many games that I had for my Xbox One. The only game that I literally started out with my Xbox One was Halo, the Master Chief Collection. And it took literally 6 days to get that entire game to install on my Xbox One with the internet I had. So what else was I supposed to do in the meantime? Well, not only I still had my 360, so I could have something to play while those 6 days it took to download the Halo, the Master Chief Collection on the Xbox One. So I'm basically a stupid idiot because I played my 360 because I had to let something download, and still played it even after I beat all 4 of those games when I did not have any other game yet for the Xbox One. I still was basically ignorant in people's minds. And it's the most disgusting and sickening thing ever that people just think that they look at you as being stupid just because you play older stuff. So, yeah. So, I basically have still been playing my PlayStation 4 Pro and my Xbox One X, right? Now, I surely still think that games still look very, very stunning on those consoles, especially if you have a 4K TV and you still have those more mid-generation powerful Xbox One and PS4 consoles. honestly, games still look really, really stunning. And this game on the screen that you're seeing is the Marvel Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4 that came out in 2018. This game only runs at a solid 1440p and upscale 4K resolution rest of the way. And this game still looks pretty darn realistic in my book. I mean, like, just look at this. Like, look at all of these buildings. Like, look how freaking realistic the environment looks. Like, just look at that. And we ain't even playing on a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, and we're just playing on a PS4 Pro. And the game still looks very, very stunning. I mean, heck, even look at the rain, look at the clouds. Like, games are not going to get that much better going forward. The only thing that you are getting with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X is better performance, where games can now play at 60 frames and 120 instead of 30 to like 60 with an uncapped 60 whatever. And you're only getting basically ray tracing, and that's pretty much it. That's all you're getting with the next gen consoles is ray tracing and better performance. Now, there are some detail on some games that will look better, but you sit so back far from your TV, it just makes it so hard to basically tell the difference. So really, games are not going to look that much different, especially from the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, mainly from the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. If we get a mid-generation upgrade like a PlayStation 5 Pro or an Xbox Series X2 or whatever Microsoft's going to call it as a mid-generation upgrade for the next-gen consoles, well, the current gen now, then there will be a significant difference if they are going to have a mid-gen upgrade again, and these consoles are going to be able to support up to native 8K. Now, I know there's going to be some argument here that people are going to be like, well, you know the consoles can support 8K, but here's the thing. The PS5 and the Series X do not support a native solid 8K experience. You're just getting upscale. These consoles can't even barely run still games in 4K because of the capabilities it has. Most games are going to run at 4K on the PS5 and Series X, but a game like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that game can't even maintain a steady 4K at 60 frames a second. Now, there is an argument that can be made about this, that these are basically early adopters, so these are just basically the beginning of games coming out. But honestly, it's really hard to get games to run at a solid 4K in a steady frame rate. I'm sure a lot of developers are going to be able to, but it's truthfully technically going to be really, really hard to get games to run at 4K in a solid 60 or 120 FPS. I mean, heck, look at Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone. That game supports 120 FPS only on the Series X and Series S, but on the Series X, when I play it in 4K, it can't even maintain a steady 120 FPS. It goes all the way down to like somewhere to like 95 FPS. Don't get me wrong, that is still really, really smooth, but you're not going to be able to maintain a steady like environment like that of games being, you know, a steady frame rate and the highest resolution as possible. And besides, the graphics cards that are inside the PS5 and Series X are only a 2070, I think, Super, or possibly a TI, I don't know, but all I remember is that they have the 2070 something graphics card inside the PS5 and Series X. And the top of the line graphics cards, like the new 3090 and whatnot, it can't even maintain a solid native 8K gaming experience. And that is way more powerful than the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. So 8K is going to be a while away from now before we can get games to basically maintain a steady 8K and whatever frame rate, even if it is 30 frames a second. It's going to be a really decent while from right now. But with all that being said, what people don't realize is every new console generation we get the console does not die. And this is the thing with people that think that games shouldn't come out for the previous generation of consoles, the successor of the new ones. Like, as I was getting ready to say, every console generation that we get, Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo and whoever that is making consoles, they do not kill off their successors as soon as a new console comes out. Like, they just don't. Because not everybody's going to jump on the bandwagon right away, and people do not have the money to get a next-gen console as soon as they come out. I mean, I actually got lucky because I had the money, but there's literally not everybody out there that has the money to go out and buy a system. I mean, heck, there's people out there that haven't even got a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One until 6 years later after the console's launch. Like, I'm not kidding. And people honestly think that because Cyberpunk 2077 had issues, they think that they're accusing that it was a last generation console issue, and it was not. That game was scheduled to only release on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One consoles. It was not going to come out for the Series X or the PlayStation 5. But because of the idea that they delayed it, and because that, you know, it's officially coming out for the PlayStation 5 and Series X, that was because they had it delayed in time for the new consoles and they're able to work on it. But at the time, the developers were only going to release that game for the PS4 and Xbox One. Like, the release schedule was originally set for April 16th, 2020, and that was way before even the PlayStation 5 and the Series X were even coming out. That was almost a little over half of a year before those consoles came out. So the idea that people think that games like that, and especially Halo Infinite, like, these games should not come to the Xbox One and whatnot, it's not going to work. I'm telling you, it is not going to work. Microsoft and Sony are not just going to kill off a generation like that because you know, there's still money to be made and they still got tons of life in them. So let's go back to the older consoles. All right, let's say the PlayStation 1 came out in 1994, right? That was the first ever PlayStation console from Sony. Okay, the PlayStation 2 launched in 2000. But guess what? The PlayStation 1 was still getting games made for it for quite a few years after the PlayStation 2 initially launched. And it was really, really successful. The PlayStation 1 managed to sell over 103 or 102, whatever million units, just a little over 100 million units they were able to do. And moving forward, the PlayStation 2, okay, the PS3 launched in 2006. And guess what? You know what's really funny? The PlayStation 2 still ended up getting supported heavily, and the last game that came out for that PlayStation 2 console was right when the PlayStation 4 launched. And I'm telling you, right when the PlayStation 4 launched is when the PlayStation 2 did not get a single game anymore. That was the PlayStation 2's last game, and I think it was a FIFA game, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was FIFA 14 at the time, because the PlayStation 4 launched in November of 2013, also as well as the Xbox One. And that, to me, is what I honestly think is the case, is I think that FIFA was actually the last game that came for the PlayStation 2. So, but before all that, the PlayStation 3 also still was heavily getting supported, and it managed to still continue to get games out even for while the PlayStation 4 was out. So, yeah, I personally think that what it is that there's just so much people that honestly care about the graphics more than the games themselves. I mean, surely enough, with the PlayStation 4 being the most powerful, or not most powerful, I meant to say, the most successful console out of the 8th generation, I know that the majority of gamers honestly don't really care about the power as much as the games, but surely enough, there is quite a bit of them out there that do, because they honestly think that people are stupid because they go back and play old games of some of their old favorite classics because they're not playing a new system, and then they think that games, soon as a new console generation comes out, that they should literally only be on that new console generation. And it's completely out of hand, and that basically just shows you proof that all they give a crap about is mostly the graphics, when graphics do not make a game that good. Yes, graphics is a nice step up, especially with the games that we are getting today, with games like what you're seeing on the screen, Marvel Spider-Man, and other games, but graphics are not the only thing that make a game better. It's about gameplay, it's about how the controls work, it's about the storyline, and it's also about like features that you're going to get with it. That's what makes a game better. It is not about the graphics only. The graphics are just basically a nice, thankful step up that they have given us as the future goes on. So, yeah. But, yeah, I honestly don't give a crap what anybody says. I am still going to continue to play the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X, most likely, probably for the next year or two, mainly due to the fact because, like I'm going to say it once more, there is not many games right now out for the new systems, and there is not enough storage right now for the new systems. So, what are you supposed to do? I know there's an argument to be made that people are going to be like, well, you could just put your external hard drive, da-da-da this and da-da-da that. But here is the funny thing. What are you getting that's supposed to help out with putting the external hard drives in your newer consoles? Exactly. You're not getting no benefits whatsoever. You're just being able to play those games like the way they are on the new consoles. Now, I can understand if it's somebody who is basically like not wanting to, that is getting rid of their last generation console and they only want to keep their next gen console as their primarily platform and that's all they want to play. That's a good thing. But if it's somebody like me and a lot of millions of hardcore gamers out there that do keep their older consoles, and especially that does keep the last generation console as part of their setup, then what's the point of even plugging in the hard drive if you're not getting any benefits on the new console? You're just better off to play on the native hardware with the external hard drive staying plugged into that. That's pretty much what is your best option. Like, there's no, like, you are not getting no benefits while plugging external hard drives onto your next gen consoles. You're not getting no benefits at all. So, yeah. But like I stated in the beginning of this video, I'm probably going to get a lot of dislikes on this video, but surely enough, that's actually what it sounds like to me, is that there is actually thousands of people that only care is about the graphics, so they go after to the other people that still like to play their old games, and because of that too, they think that a console generation should just die right when a new one comes out. But it doesn't work like that. The last few generations we had of consoles, they still managed to get heavily supported after the newest generation console came out at those times. Like I stated, the PS2 kept getting support way through the PS3's life cycle, and that console is today's most popular and most sold gaming console in the entire world with over 155 million units sold. And it just managed to still go through the PS3 like nothing because of how popular it was. So that's what it's going to be, almost what's going to happen with the PlayStation 4. It's definitely not going to go through the entire PS5's life cycle. I can almost guarantee you that. But what I do think is the PlayStation 4 is probably going to get heavily supported with games probably until 2023 to possibly 2024 is how I honestly look at it. Because Sony knows that they don't want to kill off the fan base just yet, especially with all of those 120 million units that they have sold, which there's not really that many, but there is a total of over 100 million players that have a PS4 and that have accounts and whatnot. So, yeah. But you can dislike the video or you can like the video, whatever you want. I honestly don't care, but that to me is honestly what I think is going on, is that a lot of gamers out there just give a crap about the graphics and don't give a crap about the other consumers. So that's honestly what I think it is. But like I stated in the beginning, hit a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for those of you that are new to the channel, and be sure to comment down below of your thoughts, and also turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any future content on this channel and all that good stuff. So like, rate, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you guys on the next video.